beneath chimneys that never stopped smoking. Manchester, 1850. The sun rises, but you barely notice it. The sky above the city is already gray, not with morning clouds, but with smoke. Hundreds of factory chimneys stretch across the skyline, each releasing a steady column of coal-black exhaust. By midday, the sun will appear as nothing more than a pale circle behind the haze. This is not an old city shaped slowly over centuries. Manchester is something new, a city built almost entirely around production. The day begins with a sound that every worker in the city knows by heart, the factory bell. Its echo travels through narrow streets lined with brick terraces. Doors open, workers step outside, pulling coats tight against the damp morning air. Some walk quickly, others hurry. The bell does not wait. Inside the mills, machines are already turning, and once they start, they rarely stop. Today we are walking through Manchester at the height of the Industrial Revolution, a place where the modern world is taking shape for the first time. From market town to industrial giant in a single lifetime. Just a century earlier, Manchester was almost unremarkable. In 1750, around 20,000 people lived here. It was a modest market town surrounded by farmland. The River Irwell moved quietly past small workshops and warehouses. Merchants traded wool, grain, and simple manufactured goods. Like many towns in northern England, Manchester served the countryside around it. Then cotton arrived. In the late 18th century, the first cotton mills began to appear along the river. At first, they relied on water power, but soon steam engines replaced water wheels, and factories no longer needed to sit beside rivers. They could be built anywhere coal could reach. And coal was everywhere in northern England. Factories multiplied rapidly. Workers arrived from villages and farms looking for wages. Streets expanded outward almost overnight. Housing was built quickly, often with little planning. By 1800, the population had reached 50,000. By 1850, it had passed 300,000. Manchester had not grown gradually. It had exploded. Inside the mills where the Industrial Revolution roared. Step inside a cotton mill, and the first thing you notice is the noise. Hundreds of machines fill the floor. Power looms clatter endlessly. Spinning frames whirl at dizzying speed. Belts run overhead, transferring power from massive steam engines in the basement. The sound is overwhelming. Conversation is impossible. Workers communicate through gestures, nods, and experience. They learn to understand the rhythm of the machines themselves. The air is thick with cotton fibers. Tiny particles float everywhere, clinging to clothing, hair, and lungs. Windows remain closed to maintain humidity, which prevents threads from snapping during production. But that also traps the dust inside. Workers move constantly between machines, repairing broken threads, replacing spools, clearing tangled fibers. A single worker may supervise several looms at once. The work demands constant attention. A moment of distraction can mean injury. Fingers caught in gears, hands pulled into rollers. Shifts last 12 to 14 hours a day, 6 days a week. The factory bell controls everything: when you begin, when you eat, when you leave. In Manchester, time itself has been reorganized around the machine. The streets where the workers lived. When the shift ends, workers spill out of the mill gates. They walk through streets packed with identical brick houses. These are back-to-back terraces built quickly and cheaply. Most families live in a single room. Sometimes two families share the same space. Courtyards between houses contain shared pumps for water and communal privies. Privacy does not exist here. Disease spreads quickly. In neighborhoods like Little Ireland and Angel Meadow, conditions are particularly severe. Thousands of Irish immigrants arrived during the Great Famine of the 1840s, searching for work and survival. By 1851, more than 13% of Manchester's population had been born in Ireland. They settled in the cheapest districts, where rents were lowest and buildings were most crowded. Children work alongside adults in the mills. Some begin as young as 5 or 6 years old. Small children crawl beneath moving machines to gather loose cotton fibers. They are called scavengers. Accidents are common: fingers crushed, arms caught in machinery. Years of breathing cotton dust damage the lungs. In the poorest areas, average life expectancy is only 26 years. A sky turned black by industrial success. Above everything, smoke hangs in the air. Hundreds of chimneys burn coal day and night. The smoke mixes with soot from homes, workshops, and locomotives. Buildings turn black within months. Clothes carry the smell of coal wherever you go. The River Irwell flows dark with industrial waste, dyes, and chemicals from textile processing. Pollution is not considered an unfortunate side effect. It is a sign of productivity. A smoking chimney means a mill is operating. A darkened sky means output is high. Visitors to Manchester often react with shock. Some are horrified by the dirt and smoke. Others see something different. They see a city overflowing with energy and ambition. A place where human labor and machines have been combined into a system capable of producing goods on a scale never seen before. The global machine that powered the city, Manchester does not produce cotton. It processes it. Raw cotton arrives from across the world. Most of it comes from the American South, where enslaved workers pick the crop on vast plantations. By 1860, nearly 90% of Manchester's cotton originates there. The bales arrive first in the port of Liverpool. From there, they travel inland by canal or by the new Liverpool and Manchester Railway, opened in 1830. What once took days by boat can now take hours by train. Speed changes everything. Faster transport means faster production. Faster production means faster profit. Finished cloth leaves Manchester just as quickly. It is shipped across Europe, Asia, and the Americas. The city consumes very little of what it produces. Manchester is not a destination. It is a processing center inside a global network, a city that became a model for the future. Observers who visited Manchester in the 19th century often felt conflicting emotions. Some saw disaster. The philosopher Friedrich Engels walked through the city in the 1840s and described shocking levels of poverty and inequality. He wrote about crowded slums and a working class push to physical limits. Reformers demanded change. Government inquiries investigated factory conditions. Over time, new laws appeared, limits on child labor, public health measures, housing reforms. But others saw something very different. They saw the future. Manchester had solved the problem of mass production. Steam engines, organized labor, and global trade networks were working together on an enormous scale. Other cities began copying the model. Industrial centers appeared across Europe and North America. Factories, railways, worker housing, global supply chains. Manchester was no longer just a city. It had become a blueprint. The moment the modern world announced itself. Stand on a bridge over the River Irwell in the 1850s. Look across the skyline. Rows of mills stretch into the distance. Smoke drifts slowly across the rooftops. Workers leave the factories as the evening bell rings. The machines continue running somewhere in the darkness. The modern world did not arrive quietly. It arrived here, in the roar of steam engines and streets crowded with workers and skies darkened by coal smoke. Manchester did not intend to change the world, but by building a city devoted entirely to production, it did exactly that. Subscribe to the channel so we can explore new lands and historical periods together in our upcoming videos.